Here's what I've done before with duck. This one is with oranges. And here are duck pancakes, Chinese style. But today it's roast duck. And what I'm doing is I'm making an apple stuffing. So it's roast duck with apples coming up. Hello, I'm Judy Jackson. And today I'm talking about roasting a duck. Many people think this is going to be difficult, but it actually isn't. And the reason is, there's just one thing to remember. You start it in a very hot oven and leave it for half an hour. Then you turn the oven low and continue gently cooking it for an hour. Then you give it another final burst of half an hour in the hot oven. And that ensures that you get a really tender flesh and very crisp on the outside. I'm doing it with an apple stuffing, and I'm showing you to start with how to make the stuffing. The stuffing can go either under the skin or inside the bird. It's preferable to put it under the skin so that the heat of the oven can get all through the duck, but it is up to you. Anyway, the instructions all follow, and I really hope you're going to like it. You need a good loaf of bread, which you're going to slice, some white raisins, onions, an apple, a tiny bit of oil, and a bit of mixed spice. To make the stuffing, cut up the bread and take off the crusts. You're going to make it into crumbs in a food processor. For 4 thick slices of bread, I've used a large onion chopped and fried in olive oil. Then I'm going to deal with the raisins. The raisins are hard and firm, and the best thing is to soften them. So what I've done is I've covered a handful in a little bit of water and microwaved it for 1 minute. What it does is it makes them deliciously soft. I'm pouring the juice through a little strainer, but I'm going to add it again later. In a blender or food processor, buzz up the bread till it's fine crumbs. Put it into a bowl and then begin to add the other ingredients. First comes the fried onions. Pop them in on the top and then add the raisins. Now comes the apple, which I've chopped into fairly small pieces, and then 1 teaspoon of mixed spice, which is going to give it some flavour. You can also add some salt and pepper at this stage. Pour in the juice from the raisins and about 1 tablespoon of olive oil. Then you're going to start to mix it by hand. When you've got it all mixed, you want to form it into 2 balls. It's quite easy to do this, but they do fall about a bit, so you need a little bit of pressing. When you've done it, put it into a plastic bag. Now you can keep it in your fridge or your freezer until you're ready. Have the stuffing at room temperature before you try to push it into each side of the bird. To get nicely roasted onions and potatoes like this, you start, of course, with raw ones. Peel the onions and potatoes, toss them in a little olive oil and cook them with the duck. But I would suggest that you take them out of the oven half an hour before the duck is cooked, because they will cook much quicker. The cooking is going to take 2 hours in total. Start with a preheated, very hot oven. That's 210 centigrade, 425 Fahrenheit. After 15 minutes, put in the duck and the potatoes and the onions and roast them on that high heat for half an hour. Then take them out quickly and pour off any fat and continue roasting at 160 degrees centigrade, 320 Fahrenheit for 1 hour. During this time, you can also pour off more fat because you don't want it sitting in a lot of the duck fat. After the 1 hour, you then turn it up again to 210 degrees, 425 Fahrenheit, and cook it for another half an hour to brown and crisp the skin. Here it is, cut into a few portions. You can see on the left this apple stuffing, on the top the roasted onions, and the bottom the potatoes, and in the middle
2 portions of beautifully roasted duck. If you don't want to bother with the stuffing, you can just make apple sauce. It's easily made with any kind of apples. English Bramleys are best because they fall to pieces easily. You need to peel the apples, remove the core, cut them into pieces and sprinkle over a little bit of sugar. Then either cook them in the microwave with no water or on the hob with a tiny little bit of water, and in about 5 minutes you'll find that the apples have softened. They're ready to mash up and make into apple sauce. When it's cool, it is a perfect addition to spoon on next to some crisp, delicious roast duck.